All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. Guys, you know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part, so make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. So let's say thank you to my6shirt.com, the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. What is good? We got Modern Acrophia in the building. John Giano is here. Welcome to the party. So I have an interesting show for you guys today. I was watching Peter Boghossian's, one of his street epistemology videos. If you're not familiar, he similar to the Jubilee video. There'll be a prompt, and you could they have lines on the floor where you could be neutral, slightly agree or disagree, strongly agree or disagree. But this one was not with random people. It was actually with Michael Shellenberger of Skeptic Magazine and Michael Shellenberger, who is a Christian. I don't want to say apologist. I don't know exactly what he does, but he's in the area of Christian academia and that stuff. And I thought it was really cool, so I figured let's check it out. Welcome to the party. Don said the Christians I know are happy people for the most part. It's the atheists I've met that are sad or angry all the time. And, as an atheist, I agree with this. This is a very common. You see a lot of anger in atheist circles. You see a lot of anger in people who don't have a grounding in something. The issue that I have is that while this may be true, the issue isn't that they don't have Christianity. The issue is that they don't have a value structure. Because you could say this about Christians, you could say this about Jews, you could say this about Muslims or anything else. It's just that all of these things are dogmatic in the sense that you have to believe something that cannot be proven. And if you try to ask questions to learn more, then you're wrong. And whether it's on the right where we have religious dogma or on the left where we have trans dogma, either way, it is not good. So as always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
So I think Christianity works better. Christianity has better outcomes
than
the alternatives.
All of them?
No, most of them. I think that there's a small number of people that can handle atheism, and I know all of you. And I'm friends with all of them.
Makes sense.
Okay, here we are. Where are we, sir?
We are in Santa Barbara at the Hilton.
And what is your name?
Michael Shermer.
And what is your name, sir?
Michael Shellenberger.
So as you can see, they have the mats on the floor here. And they start at neutral and they go slightly agree or disagree, and then strongly. We do also have the running poll. Should people be Christians if they do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah? Coming off of, Ayan Hirsi Ali just doing Why I'm a Christian Now, and very little mention of Jesus Christ. Should people be Christians if they do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah? Yes or no? Let me know. All right.
Wow, so
so similar.
Two Michaels and two very good friends of mine. So that's amazing how that works out. And we're going to do a little...
You said I was your best friend, not...
best friend? Oh, no, I got busted already. So we're going to do a little spectrum street epistemology. Okay. And we're going to start off with the claim. Christianity is a better bulwark against woke than humanism.
So that's the first claim there. Christianity is a better bulwark against woke than humanism. Shout out to Modern Acrophia. Welcome to the party. And so again, as you see, they are going to go to their perspective things. And I, even as an atheist, I would go to slightly agree. Because even though you could categorize me as a humanist, I definitely don't consider myself or call myself a humanist. It's a similar to atheism in and of itself. It just doesn't have enough to replace Christianity. And so I would go with slightly agree that Christianity is a better bulwark against woke than humanism. What do you guys think?
So easy.
Move.
So again, we got it.
Wow.
So the atheist goes to disagree, while the Christian, unsurprisingly, goes to strongly agree.
Wow, really? Okay, grab the board.
Okay.
Grab the board. Wow, right out of the gate. Okay, write down your best reason for believing that Christianity is a bulwark, a better bulwark.
What about you guys? Agree? Disagree? Strongly? Slightly? Let me know.
So don't show him, Michael. Don't show him. Take a guess at what his best reason for believing that is.
Because
And I mean, I would have to guess. I would have to guess that it would just be like, well, God, it made everything perfect, and He, put this in our laps for this exact reason. Modern is it apocrypha? I'm gonna call you modern because I'm not good at reading. Oh, welcome! Shout out to Jared. So I'll call you Jared. I think Christianity is strongly misunderstood. I absolutely agree with that. But the problem is that there's still an adherence to Christianity, even though it's so strongly misunderstood. Shout out to Steve. Welcome to the party. How are you doing? We are running with the prompt. Christianity is a better bulwark against wokeness than humanism. You can go starting on neutral. You can go to slightly agree or disagree, strongly agree or disagree. Modern says, well, there's the religion and then there's the belief in the person of Christ, right? And I don't think those things should be separated, but not everybody agrees.
As Christians,
so yeah, I want to guess at this reason. So the Christian went over to strongly agree, and I would assume that it has to do with how complete and how comprehensive Christianity claims to be, that it has everything in there that you need. So you said Islam is better against wokeness than Christianity. You read my mind. That's exactly where I was going to go. That yes, it's better, but does that mean that it's ideal? Great point. So the religion probably is some kind of bulwark against wokeness, but the belief in Christ, when you know Him, that changes you completely. All right, let's see what they've got to say.
Have a sense of right and wrong that is absolute and objective, right. They believe, and therefore wokeness, which is based on more moral relativism, doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Is that don't tell them the reason, but
Okay.
Is that correct?
No.
Is his reason better or worse than the one you have written here?
Worse. Sorry.
Okay. No. That's...
And this is why I thought that as much as I'm not super familiar with Michael Shellenberger, I do know that I'm very familiar with Michael Shermer and Peter Boghossian. Shout out to Peter Boghossian. If you have not, please go check out when he was on the channel. Had an awesome discussion with him. But you're not going to get, or I knew that we weren't going to get the same entry-level types of arguments from the Christian side that may hold water to people who are willing to already believe. But if you're not, then it's kind of like, well, I already know what you think. You're not bringing anything new to the table. God is great, and this is all that stuff. And yeah, I get it. But he's going to be a little bit more academic and intellectual about it.
Oh, that's fine. We're all
I
friends
love you,
here.
but no.
We're all friends here. Okay, so don't show him.
Okay.
Don't show him. I want you to guess what his reason is that he wrote down.
Because only a secular alternative to wokeism can undermine wokeism.
I don't know that I would have phrased it that way, but he thinks that the other guy disagrees that Christianity is a better bulwark than humanism, because only a secular movement can undermine another secular movement of wokeness. And I think I do agree with that. I think I agree with that. The problem isn't necessarily in the actual philosophy. It has to do with the practicality of, are people actually following it? Like, you can have the best ideals, but if nobody's living that way, then it doesn't really matter, right? Peter's an interesting one, indeed.
Is that correct?
Say it again. Only a secular.
Because only a secular, not a religious alternative can undermine and replace wokeism.
Yeah, kind of. That's kind
Okay.
of. I'm gonna have to.
Don't.
Yeah, I
don't
won't
do
say
it.
it. Say
So
yeah.
it's
I'm glad that he didn't say no. It wouldn't take it wouldn't take a secular movement, because that would create a lot of mental work for me to find, okay, what is the dogmatic or religious belief that can be good against wokeness? If I don't believe, I mean, every Catholic hates Pope Francis because he is super woke. And but again, that goes back to the idea that Catholicism versus the Bible versus a relationship with Christ versus a particular person, these are all very different things. Modern says, I don't agree there. Trying to draw a distinction between the secular and the religious doesn't work. Say more on this. I think I agree with you, but I'm not fully sure I understand. I think I agree with you. If you elaborate on that a little bit more.
kind of.
It's kind of flipped about what Christianity is not doing as opposed to what secularism is doing, which I think is. I like what he said better than what I wrote.
You like his answer better than what you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm going to give you another opportunity to guess what he has on the board. Like,
Well,
why would
okay,
someone believe that?
I will come up with sort of a political Christianity.
Okay.
That is to say, it's organized enough to push back against the woke movement.
That's me right there. As much as I do not believe in the tenets of Christianity, I think that Christianity has a better way of bringing people together than this secular humanism. And I think that secular humanism is the core that this American identity that I talk about should be built on. But just not having a belief, atheism, is not a belief structure; it's the lack thereof. And secular humanism is just too broad. It's just too broad. It doesn't have any, like, this is what you should do with your life. And it needs to be somewhat broad because it needs to be relevant to everybody. But in the same way that Christians, like, you should follow God. You should foster your relationship with Jesus. You should do secular humanism just is a little bit kind of hippy dippy. Just be nice to everybody, which I agree with. But again, it's just not enough of a pushback against wokeness.
To actually boots on the ground, do something about it.
Is what he said correct?
So Modern said religion is an attempt to encapsulate core belief. So secularism or wokeism, they're kind of the same thing. Trying to just drink a distinction between secular and religious. So I think it seems like splitting hairs there, but that's like saying that atheism is a religion. It's the lack thereof. So so what would be the dogmatic belief that you are following in secularism to call it a religion? Yeah, I'm with Steve. Because in wokeness, again, it's the idea that white people are oppressors, and people who are a certain skin color have a certain thing, and that a man can transform into a female, and all of these things. What are the dogmatic beliefs in secularism? Which I don't even think is secularism a word? Things are secular. I don't think secularism is a thing. I don't have to come on stream again to really have this discussion. Well, I mean, I can definitely drop the link if you want to come up and have a little chat. Come on up. Because I really think that's, it's an important distinction there, that secular wokeism can be a religion because it has those beliefs. Religion is what we're describing, but being secular, I don't know what secularism is. Being secular just means not being religious. So I'm not sure how that would be. Hey, we got Soil to Soul in the building. Welcome to the party. Said, I wouldn't miss this one. Glad you are here.
No.
Okay, can you please share your answer with him?
Sure.
So again, the prompt was that Christianity is a better bulwark against wokeism than humanism is.
What is it?
Should I read it?
Yeah.
Because the decline of Christianity resulted in the nihilism that led to wokeism.
That's pretty good, actually. Yes, that's a testable hypothesis. Okay.
Okay, so before we make that to claim,
Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party with a definition here for us: secularism, indifference or rejection to the exclusion of religion and religious considerations, according to Merriam-Webster. Yeah. So again, the same thing with people. So if you're going to say that this distinction doesn't work between secular and religious, because if you're going to say distinction between religious and woke, that I will agree that you don't need a distinction there, but specifically the word secular, and then you switched out, and now you're saying secularism and wokeism. But again, secularism, just like atheism, is just the lack of religion. So it's not in a religion in and of itself. There's no tenets to secularism. There's secular humanism, where it's that humans are the most important beings, and everybody is equally important as a human, and so on and so forth. But that just is secular, in the sense that it's not with a dogmatic belief, not with a God.
I'm going to grab this from you. Sure. Can you please show him your answer?
Yeah, mine is Christianity. I didn't write it very well. Christianity is not universal ethics to include all people.
Okay. Well, how about now? We good? Good. All right. We are good. Sorry about that, guys. I have no idea what happened. I just seen y'all freaking out. I was like, what is going on? But shout out to Captain Gooby. Welcome to the party. Sorry to blow your eardrums out. But welcome. We also got Dan Jensen. Welcome to the party, guys. Thank you so much for that background help. Much appreciated. So again, just to recap, again, we are here with the claim Christianity is a better bulwark against wokeness than is humanism. And I said I would slightly agree, because Christianity does better at keeping people together and mobilizing them, even though I believe that secular humanism has better ideals. That's where I'm at. And Michael Shellenberger here disagreed that Christianity was better, but now he's saying, I'm not. Maybe I do agree. So that was originally what Shellenberger, this guy over here, said. The reason that he agrees that Christianity is a better bulwark is because the loss of Christianity led to the nihilism that bred wokeism. So if you don't get there, now the video doesn't have a sound? Jesus. All right. Well, in the meantime, let me bring up Jared. Welcome to the party, brother. Oh, and really quick, we got a super chat. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Let's get Morty his treat real quick. Thank you so much. All right, sorry about that, Jared. Welcome back.
No, you're good. Hey, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yeah, gotcha.
All right. So, let's go back to your original comment and see what we're saying. So, you're saying, I don't agree. Trying to draw a distinction between the secular and the religious doesn't work. Religion is an attempt to encapsulate core beliefs. So is secularism or wokeism. They're kind of the same thing. So again, I would say that religion and wokeism go together, but I would disagree that secularism and religion are the same thing.
Well, and I understand why you would draw that distinction, why you would try to separate it out, because this is going to be tough for me. These are things that I haven't put into words before, so bear with me a little bit. But yeah, but I'm with you. I understand why you'd say that, and I don't object particularly, except that it seems to me that all of these things come out of the same place. We're trying to encapsulate how we see the world in a way that makes sense, right? And whether, religions do it by sort of formalizing that into a set of beliefs of some kind. Wokeism is a religion in that sense, I think.
I agree.
And then secularism tries to move away from that, but you're still trying to accomplish the same purpose in a sense. You're still trying to look at the world and encapsulate the things that you believe about the world in a set of things, where Christianity is, when you talk about knowing Jesus, I have known people who were Catholic. I have known people who were Mormons. I've known people who were, I've actually known some people who were Muslims. I've known people who claimed to be atheists who I think had some connection to Christ. And one of my best friends, when I was on last time, I talked about the guy who's writing a book in the E6 world. For the longest time, he had this thing where he didn't know what he believed about God particularly, but he still had God's hand on him. Jesus still was in his life. I could see the evidence. So that's a different category of thing in a sense.
So I don't disagree, but I think you might be conflating, I had the definition that Unwanted Foe had of secularism up there. And again, it's just the indifference to, or not the backing away from religion, not saying it's good, not saying it's bad. And it's not in the, so like Catholicism is a thing that has, again, tenets, beliefs.
Yeah.
But like utilitarianism is, I'm trying to think of another ism that's not a religion, that it just describes a type of thinking. And so what I think what I think maybe what's happening is you may be conflating just secularism with secular humanism. Because if you're talking about secular humanism as a religion, that could be argued, but you could definitely say in the same way that wokeism could be a religion. Like Steve is saying, I would argue that there's no real organization behind wokeism, or like a mob that ebbs and flows with rules that only apply when it's convenient to them. But the adherence to that mob is the organization. As long as you are with the mob, that is, what the dogmatic belief is. That Biden can't say something that's what I mean. I'm being a little bit facetious there, but
sure.
So, what in secularism would be the tenets as opposed to secular humanism?
I guess what I'm saying here is I'm coming at it from a bit of a different angle, and what I mean by that is, you've got a perspective on this that takes you into it from looking at the tenets of the thing, and that's fine, because in a sense you're right, religions tend to do that, and secularism would try not to do that so much. But in the way I'm coming at it, I would say is that they're all in a sense attempts to organize the way we as human beings look at life, right? So when you're looking at it from that perspective, it's still an attempt to organize the way we look at life. It's still an ideology of sorts. It's even if you don't claim a set of tenets specifically. Does that make sense?
Yes, I do. So I guess we're just like we're saying, just a little bit of semantics there. So I guess that I definitely need that dogmatic aspect to call it a religion. If it's not, if it's just a different collection of beliefs, then I would call it an ideology. An ideology can be a religion, but not every ideology is inherently a.
I can go
religion.
with that.
So okay, cool. That is definitely fair. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to check out the show that I did with Jared about his book. And I thought it was a pretty cool conversation. Before you go, why don't you let the people know where they can find it?
Absolutely. Head over to e6universe.com, the letter E, the number 6universe.com. And actually, Lutch, I sent somebody a link to that the other day, just yesterday specifically, just because he's telling me he's an atheist and he doesn't think that we would have an interesting conversation. I'm like, oh no, we'd have a fun conversation. I'd love it. Anyway, thanks for inviting me back up to sort of talk about it a bit.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. You have a good one. So yeah, it's always good to look at the different aspects. And so, I saw something there that I wasn't really sure if I understood. And it seems like I do understand what he's saying, but just to bring him up here, it was awesome. And definitely go check out the episode that we did. But first, we got a big shout out to John for the the $50 Cash App. I think that makes John. If John wants to say who they are, then that works. But I'm not going to dox anybody. Thank you, John. $50. I believe that is the biggest donation that I've ever gotten. And I'm humbled. I don't know what to say. I'm sitting here and trying to think of a way to exactly. I mean, what a G. Thank you so much. That means so much to me, man. I really do appreciate that. And I know it's not just that. I know you're here all the time. I know you're constantly in the community, a pillar of the community, and that's what we're doing here, man. So that money is I promise you will be well spent. Thank you so much. All right.
I'm going to grab this. The decline of Christianity resulted in the nihilism that led to wokeism. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move.
On this one.
Yep.
I think I'll move this way a little bit.
Okay, so if you slightly disagree with that,
if you just let me know if you want me to put your name. I don't want to dox you, but I figure first name anyway.
Is that consistent with the position of you being?
I may even go one more.
Because,
because I happen to be a moral realist. I think there is right and wrong. I think there's objective reality, and I think the woke movement is simply wrong about what they think is true.
Interesting. So typically, this is all backwards. Typically, you would see that the atheist, you would see the atheist who's talking about how Christianity is not going to be better than what I'm saying. Humanism is not going to be better than Christianity. That Christianity is going to be awful. And yet here we have him saying, and the fact that morality is subjective. Yet here he's saying, I'm a moral realist. I believe that there is good and evil. I believe that there is such a thing. And I think that is not what we would typically see.
And so at least the Christians have a sense of right and wrong. I don't think grounding it in supernatural beliefs is the right way. Secular humanism, Spinoza and Kant and so on, that's the way to ground it. But At least we have that common ground. There is a right and wrong. There is a reality. And the wokesters don't know what that is.
Do you agree with his analysis?
Welcome.
No.
Okay. What?
Oh, we also got Inside of Ages in the building. Welcome to the party. So the Catholic Church turned Jesus into someone to wait for instead of someone to emulate. Yep. Great comment for when we were talking to Ian, right? And that one came up. Beautiful point. Shout out to Top G. We got the Top G in the building. Welcome to the party, Top G. So I believe Jesus was a mortal man who sometime in his life had the colossal experience of cosmic consciousness, aka mystical experience. Fair enough. Inside of the Ages says Jesus was murdered for calling out a corrupt church state manipulation of people's money and freedom. Based. We also got Culture Club USA in the building. Welcome to the party. Said hi, hello. I don't know. I don't control when you guys are here. I can only control when I am here.
Reason is he missing?
I think that morality is subjective.
What?
So the atheist is a moral realist, and the Christian believes that morality is subjective. Did I hear that correctly?
There is
with his analysis.
No,
Okay, what reason is he missing?
I think that morality is subjective.
what?
Yeah, even he's like, what?
What? Really?
Yeah, of course.
I'm so surprised to hear you.
Speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. Ian Hartman in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. So the downward decline of society morally, while society also turns its back on Christ. Let's pretend there's no correlation. Yeah, right. This is completely backwards.
You're surprised?
I'm surprised to hear him say
Why,
that.
why?
morality is-
I said,
because
shit, me too.
most Christians, most religious people, this is their core argument that without God, there's no objective basis of morality. Then it's subjective.
And Michael is a Christian. Well, I should be at one of my asking people. Michael, you're a
Christian
Christian.
existentialist.
You're a Christian existentialist.
Hmm.
Okay.
Or existentialist Christian.
Okay.
Either a Christian existentialist or an existentialist Christian. Is that a thing, or is he just Christian existent? Oh, okay. I guess it's a thing. Let's see. Christian existentialism is a come on. It's a theo-philosophical movement which takes an existential approach to Christian theology. Sorry, guys. My reading, everything is I'm a little foggy today, so just stick with me. Stick with me. Yes, Shellenberger is a Christian existentialist, according to him. Where were we? It takes an existentialist look at the Christian theology. The school of thought is often traced back to the work of Danish philosopher Soren Kierkegaard, who's widely regarded as the father of existentialism. Okay, so we don't got into. I'm trying to just see like some basic ish. One of the major premises entails calling the masses back to a more genuine form of Christianity. This form is often identified with some notions of early Christianity, but that sounds like he's like a young earth creationist type. Another premise involves the conception of God and love. For the most part, Kierkegaard equates God with love. Okay, so maybe that's where it is. It's just this very ill-defined God is love, God is everywhere, God is in all of us, but you have to bow to God and all that kind of stuff. I think that's where we are headed.
Existentialist. Okay.
Or existentialist Christian.
Okay. So, and you believe morality
And a pragmatist. So I think Christianity works better.
So that's what I was saying in terms of slightly agree that I don't believe that Christianity is true, that the claims of Christianity are true. What I believe is that the stories that Christianity tells is better than the better at getting people to coalesce around what we should do than just speaking the science of, hey, this will work better.
Christianity has better outcomes
than
the alternatives.
I mean, not to say that there hasn't been a lot of holy wars, but I would say in recent times, at least.
all of them.
No, most of them. I think that there's a small number of people that can handle atheism, and I know all of you.
That's an interesting, because he said that they put that part in the cold open. That's an interesting case, because I could be argued into that. I think I could be argued into that. That I'm let me turn down. Should be good. No, should be good. What was I saying? Oh, the notion that
I think that there's a small number of people that can handle atheism.
That a small number of people, that there's a certain type of person, like me, who can not have a God belief, not have a belief in anything in particular, and still be a moral person. I could be argued into that. I if I'm that special, I'm not going to fight it. But I don't really believe that. I believe that anybody can be moral without God. Very interesting. Virgil's drunk. If you remember, you said, my father, why hast thou forsaken me? Yep. All the time.
I think that
Come on. Really?
there's a small number of people that can handle atheism, and I know all of you. And I'm friends.
Right. I agree that my foundation is built on a layer of morality that comes from Christianity. But we would say that any atheist who takes the values that we have as Americans, if you follow American laws, then the foundation is Christian. No? You can definitely be American and atheist at the same time. We know that for sure. So the soul said, I wouldn't believe that either. And sure, I would like to be that special. Yeah, I don't believe that. But if that's what y'all want to say, that the reason that I'm wrong, that we don't need Christianity, is that other people do, and I'm just one of the ones who can be a good person without it. All right. I could be argued into that. But you're just not going to tell me that everybody needs God in order to be a moral person. That's just not true, as I am a living case. See, so I think it's just harder to be moral without God nowadays. Yes, I agree with that. It's harder, not impossible. And so why did you rarely hear any atheists being critical of any theology other than the ones that involve Jesus Christ? Because those are the only ones that they have to deal with. So if you're an atheist in, if you're, well, I guess it has to do, has a lot more to do with the fact that, Muslims are a lot quicker to kill you when you say things, and Christians are not. So I said, I think it's the globalist narrative that also does have a big thing on it. Well, I don't disagree. I mean, I could split hairs there, but I essentially agree with what you're saying.
Friends with all of them.
Yeah.
But no, I think that, and like Sufism, Reform Judaism. There's certainly, some kinds of Buddhism that are able to sort of embrace the tragedy and suffering of life, but also be redemptive and grateful and transcendent and provide people with the purpose and meaning that they need so that they can behave in moral ways in the world. But I also think that my understanding of what's moral and not moral is a consequence of inner subjective and subjective views. I don't think that you can.
Interesting. Shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother.
I agree with Hume. You can't derive an ought from an is.
Okay.
You have any comment on that?
Yeah.
So that's that's the age-old problem of morality, is that you can't derive an ought from an is. Meaning you can learn all the sciencey stuff that is, but you can't, facts can't tell you what you should do or what you ought to do. So the is ought problem is that you can, it doesn't matter what an is, this is that, cannot give you what you ought to do. Guys, can I just get 3 more likes in here? We got 12 people and only 5 likes. God damn.
Mr. Hume, tear down this wall. Come on, we can derive oughts from the way things are. That people would rather be satiated than starving. They'd rather be free than enslaved. Mm-hmm. They'd rather be healthy rather than diseased. We know what leads to human flourishing. You can objectively measure it, and then you can see which systems lead to more human flourishing.
Right. So then we have to break down the subjectivity and the objectivity of that stuff there. Thank you guys. Very, very, very much appreciated. I forgot what it was. Sorry. I told you guys, I'm a little foggy today.
We know what leads to.
So we have ideas of what we know and ideas of what we should do. And we can never connect those things fully. You cannot be certain that any other person doesn't want to starve. You cannot be 100% certain on anything. But if you are a human, and if you've been a human, and you know other humans who don't like not being hungry and like eating and like having a full belly, then we can determine in the degree of practicality that it is better objectively for people to have food than to not have food. And I think even though I agree that morality is subjective, if we agree that we want good things for humanity, then we create an objective goal. And now that's the objective model that we're working in a subjective universe.
The human flourishing, you can objectively measure it, and then you can see which systems lead to more human flourishing. Democracy versus autocracy, free markets versus controlled markets and economies, and so on.
Do you have a
We're getting to the next session already, but we're dealing with the reality that you have Democrats in the United States went from 40% to 70% in support of government censorship of online speech.
Hashtag party flip.
Between 2018 and 2023. What led Democrats to reject freedom? Was it because, I think it was because the subjective argument for freedom was not properly made, and they saw no need for free speech, and that for us to make the case for free speech, we have to explain to people.
Bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, go find some friends.
I think this is where I come into the
Friday
last
night.
half.
Go
You
do
have to
something.
make the case for freedom of speech. It's not obvious to people. It seemed obvious, but
It
it
used to.
no longer seemed obvious to people after the Trump election, particularly.
Yep, and even now, this idea of free speech is been bastardized into, well, yeah, you have free speech, but then I have the freedom to beat the fuck out of you for saying anything I don't like. Well, it's so either I'm a loser for only having, well, it's 13 people if you include Virgil over on Facebook, and shout out to whoever's on Twitch. So either if I'm a loser for being here, what does that make you for spending your Friday night watching it?
Why free speech was an absolute value and an inalienable right, and we had to, I think, go through a moment where we saw the potential of tyranny from censorship for us to re-embrace free speech.
And isn't it so interesting that it was, especially through the early 90s when the Christian right was raging, free speech, liberty, liberation, and then of course when it becomes things that the liberals don't like to hear, Trump comes around. It's like, well, we got to censor this, we got to censor that, we got to censor that, we got to censor that.
Because each generation has to relearn it. It's not in the DNA.
I think it's actually quite the opposite. I think it's an evolved. I think it requires I think free speech requires slow thinking. It requires rationality. It requires discourse. It requires dialogue. But that the intuitive, the deeper reptilian parts of ourselves is tyrannical and tribal. And we have to experience the consequences of that tyrannical and reptilian brain for us to appreciate freedom and free speech.
I mean, shout out to that on free speech. Shout out to that. Lomtech says, I've been wondering if it's possible to give credence to religion for the beginning of morality without using it as the only form of morality for a country. Yes, we just have to do it. We just have to do it. We have to stop saying everything. It's in the words. It's the semantics. When you say, "Oh, glory to God," when you don't even really believe that, then it makes other people feel like, oh, when I want to express gratitude, it has to be to God. Of course we can do this. This is what this whole platform is about, is giving credence to religion for the beginning of morality without using it as the only form of morality for a country. Bingo. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, like how democracy is credited to ancient Greeks, but we don't consider how we run the country as a Greek-styled democracy. Exactly. And so the irony is that when the Christian right of the 90s backed off, what resulted was nothing short of full embrace of depravity as a society, aka 2023 USA. Bingo. That's that pendulum swinging back and forth because people don't have political principles. They have religion, and then they have whatever hedonistic bullshit most atheists have. And so exactly what you see it swinging from one end to the other. And it gets this extreme and then that extreme and then this extreme and that extreme. When most of us, it's like, hey, let's just stick right in that pocket. Maybe I'm on this side of the pocket and you're on that side of the pocket. But as long as the pendulum's here, we're all happy. We're all happy. Instead of it being over here where we all fucking love it and you hate your life, or you love it and we all hate our lives. How about we just stick right there? We all want it here. We all want it to be right in the middle. But everybody has to be, especially in this attention economy, when everything is about clout. Then extremes is the only thing that people know how to engage in. So the souls of the Uniparty got scared when Trump came down that escalator. Also, I think it's easier to make the idea of freedom less important to this younger generation. They know immediate gratification and have no idea of real privacy. That's a good point about the privacy. We talk a lot about how kids are terminally online and stuff, but this notion of privacy is something that they will never know. They will never know about. As a millennial at 34, I mean, I gave away all my privacy, but at least there was a time when it existed. That time has passed. That's a great point. See, so the Christian right, you mean the evangelical Christians? Pretty much. I don't remember all denominations of Christians stirring up much. I mean, yes, but it's because it was one sect of Christians, then it got displaced through all of the sects. You know what I mean? Hey, look who we've got in the building, the man himself, Peter Boghossian. Welcome to the party. Said I recognize you as the one true Indian Jesus. Thank you, sir. And again, guys, if you have not already, please go check out our conversation. It was one of my favorites. Welcome to the party, sir. Very glad to see you. Guantek said, I think that all the religious nut jobs gave birth to the anti-religious kids. Yep. I think that most people are religious in some way. So that generation just turned to the state for their religion. Guantek is on fire today, people. Guantek is on fire. God damn. Shout out to Peter. Hell yeah.
Do you have a comment on that, or we do?
I do, and if it's just the pragmatist stuff, I will move one more over here.
Wow,
free speech.
Wow.
Where I initially said that as an atheist, I would stand on slightly agree, because the secular humanism, even though I believe that is a better, that has better ideals. When we're talking about being what is it? I don't remember a bulwark. What was the word that he is? I don't know. A push against wokeism. Then Christianity obviously does better, because otherwise, all these atheists do claim that they're secular humanists, but they're also woke. So it can't be that secular humanism fights back against wokeism.
Free speech, because I'm a free speech almost absolute.
Hell yeah.
Because
for free speech.
I still strongly agree, but
okay.
I want to be closer to.
But I will remind the audience, that it wasn't that long ago, a few decades, when the Christians and conservatives were censoring speech, songs, expressions, and so on. Madonna's videos were immoral, and so on.
Ooh, Dad said there is no middle to stick in. The middle is an ephemeral point on a slippery slope heading down to hell. Interesting point. So does that mean that the metaphor of the pendulum is incorrect? Because if that is the case, then certainly this is not. I mean, obviously you could put a pendulum on a slope, but we talk about a pendulum in the sense that it's swinging. So if it's not really swinging, then why do we feel like it's going back from one side to the other? Because it definitely was the Christian Republicans who had a lot more cultural power to censor and were a lot less cool. And now it's the other way around, where it's a lot less cool to be, I'm part of, Joe Biden's my favorite. And you're like, so it absolutely has changed. But I do agree with you here. So how would you respond to that? It's not exactly incorrect. The points of reference for the ends of the pendulum change. I guess it really that makes it more difficult for us to understand. Like, remember the one of the last episodes of The Office. I don't remember if it was the last one, but and he's like, I used to. I first came to this office and I missed my old office, and now this office is closing. Well, I wish you could know that you were in the dog days before they were over with. And I wonder how we could, as a society, recreate that notion of, hey, this is where we want things. Because at some point between 1990 and today, there was a group of people for whom it was at some point perfect. So that point has to arise at some point, and it's going to maximize again at some point. It doesn't mean everybody's going to be happy, but certainly there's got to be a better way than just going back and forth. The enemy or spiritual forces are trying to push society in a specific direction. Yeah, see, then you get a little bit into the woo-woo, but there are forces that are pushing things. I don't know how spiritual they are. Virgil said, "Why was the mother of Jesus never made a saint? Don't they use Saint Mary? Saint, I think she is. No, but
so the roles have flipped a little bit. So common cause, okay. Good.
Yep.
But
and that totally happened before, right? The party switched.
Yeah, that free speech as kind of a fundamental right that grounds all other rights. That's kind of a universal idea that should apply everywhere to all people. And secular humanism, that's what we champion, is universal principles that apply to everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. So to the extent that Christians are pulling in that direction, that's good. But they didn't used to be that way.
Right. All right. And I think even if, like, I'm sitting here as an atheist telling you guys that your religion, Christianity, I appreciate the values. I think y'all can give a little bit of ground and say that maybe the religion didn't always have a great role in our politics. So the soul said, I disagree. I would, of course, add it takes balance to stay in the middle. A conscious, sort of talking about the pendulum thing, a conscious effort to not slip down the slope. It's far more for an individual standing point, though, not the masses long term. The pendulum. Yeah, and I think that's like there was a day where the political landscape was absolutely perfect for you. At some point between today and January 1st, 1990. That happened. You may not have noticed. You probably weren't paying attention, but that happened. One day it was too liberal for you, and then the day after that it was too conservative, or whatever you want to say. But that day, that was your day. So then the question becomes, how does that how does that distribute? So let's say let's say if I'm pretty middle of the road, then the day that things are perfect for me, again, if the pendulum goes like this, and if you're if you're a Nazi, then the pendulum's all the way on this side when it's your perfect day, and if you're the opposite, all the way it's all the way up here. So let's say I, just for the sake of argument, not saying I'm perfect, but let's say I'm perfectly in the middle, right? On that day, I would assume that it would work like a natural bell curve. So the closer to the middle that the pendulum stands, the more people it's going to be closer to that perfect point. Like, just think of a bell curve going right over here. So if this is the pendulum, and the pendulum goes over here, and we're at a normal bell curve where it goes up over here, then not a lot of people like it when it's the opposite of where it is, but also not a lot of people like it where it is. Same thing if we had it over here, where a bell curve. You guys know what a bell curve is. Saint Mary the Virgin was considered one of the greatest saints in the Catholic religion. I'll leave that to you guys. Modern I'm gonna get this. Apocrypha. Modern Apocrypha says, I'm a Christian, follower of Christ. The construct of religion has bad outcomes. Agreed.
Because of our reptilian brain, just kind of this tribalism. That's that leads you to want to censor people.
And by the way, can I say those were bad Christians?
Those are bad Christians.
Because remember,
they're all bad. Everybody's a bad Christian except the Christian talking about Christianity. All the Christians are bad Christians except the Christian who's talking about Christianity. Only you have the right Christianity. Why is it always that everybody is like, oh, all the other Christians do it wrong, but I have it right? Come on. So I was more talking about how one conducts oneself within a moral pendulum, sans politics or religion, but I get you. Okay, yeah. So meaning like depending on or regardless of where the pendulum is, that you should know what your principles are and what values you hold and what you should be doing. Okay, but he fair. But he was like, well, they're the bad Christians, I'm the good one. That was the framing of that. That is it? Was that his point? I don't think that was his point. I think he was trying to say they're wrong and I'm right.
Because of our reptilian brain, just kind of this tribalism. that's, that leads you to want to censor
And
people
by
that
the
are
way,
not
can I
like
say
you.
those were bad Christians?
Those are bad Christians.
Because remember, the most important thing that Jesus says is, "You have heard it said that you."
Okay, so now I'm quoting Jesus. So those are bad Christians because remember, Jesus said this. You should be following what I'm telling you, not what those people are saying. That's not what he's saying. I mean, I agree. I agree with you. But that's not at all what he's saying.
Remember, the most important thing that Jesus says is, "You have heard it said that you should love your friends and hate your enemies. I say unto you that you should love your enemies." That is, for me, the most important passage. That's the most important thing Jesus said, and it's the most important phrase in all of Christianity. And so for people to suggest that we should hate enemies is a deeply unchristian
How dare you?
value. And so they're betraying.
I think that's kind of I think modern Christianity, it's very outside of or it's very unchristian. But certainly there was hate and at least vitriol all across different groups in the Bible. Guam says, relating to my earlier comment, would it then be okay to teach that religion or teach that religion was the beginning of morality without, as long as it wasn't being... It was the beginning of morality as long as it wasn't being advocated for. Yeah, that's just history. Now we're just talking about history. The Bible should be a significant part of American and world history. And that's it. Unless you want to do, Sunday school and church and whatever. But I'm talking about in school. It should be a big part, but a part of history class. That's it. That's all it is. Modern says the most important thing that Jesus says almost always leads to people in a deep, dark hole. Virgil said, to be honest, I have a picture of the Sacred Mary in my toilet. She was a hottie, and I would have slipped her one. Hey! Thank you, unwanted foe. Yes, please do. Modern said, everything he said has to be taken together for it to work. Picking and choosing is going to end in destruction. That's why I say leave it all. I'm not picking and choosing any. I'm saying leave it all.
Their Christianity in spirit, if not in name.
It just as an aside, that's in Plato's Republic when he talks about beating a horse makes it worse. So it's like, so it's that precedes Christianity. So there is
Yes.
in the Republic. I want to do another claim.
Jesus is plagiarizing, is what you're saying?
Well,
Yep.
I wouldn't say plagiarism.
No, it's just that these are universal truths, and Jesus wasn't that fucking special.
But I think the Sermon on the Mount is.
Let me address one more thing. In the context of this kind of pragmatic theory of truth, Ian Hersey is now famous for why I am now a Christian instead of an atheist.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Because I told you. And when did I tell you?
Because basically the woke people are, ruining everything. At least the Christians can do something about this. Come on.
Yeah. So if you guys missed the last stream, I think it was the last stream, right? Or the one before that, I don't know. Like I said, I'm foggy today. But we went over Ayaan Hirsi Ali's op-ed or whatever that she put out about a month or so ago. And her story was that she is a Somalian or was a Somalian Muslim, female genital mutilation, oppressed, like legitimately oppressed as a woman, escaped to the Netherlands, I believe, eventually came to America and was part of like the New Atheists with Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins and people like that. But then she came out with, her op-ed, Why I Am Now a Christian. And it was about, we read through about 3/4 of it before she even mentioned Jesus Christ. So this pragmatic Christianity, if we're going to make that a thing, and the American identity is way too idealistic, I'll go for pragmatic Christianity. I'll go for it. But that goes back to our earlier poll as to, would you prefer that I'm an atheist with the temptation to, get into hedonism and all the stuff that all the lefties do, all the wokeness? Would you want me, who somebody is up here, not much influence, but it's growing? Would you want me to be a pragmatic Christian or a wokey? Either way, I'm not believing in Jesus Christ. But one works out better for you.
the woke thing is,
Yes, yes.
you know, why I am now a Christian instead of an atheist is because basically the
I
woke
agree.
people are, you know, ruining everything. At least the Christians can do something about this. You know, come on.
Yeah.
And so Andrew Sullivan, who is a Catholic and Christian, you know, he kind of upbraided her as like, you should believe because it's true, not because it has practical political
That's
consequences
the
for us.
question that I have now.
Joseph was the biggest cuck in the history of the world.
It is reasonable to believe in Christianity solely because of the benefits.
Ooh, so that is very similar. That is very, 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 very similar to the poll. But now we have a little bit more, and I'm looking for an answer. One of these answers. Slightly agree, strongly agree, or disagree. Let me know how you feel about this claim. It is reasonable to believe in Christianity solely because of the benefits. This means that you may not believe in God. You may believe in God, but you don't believe that Jesus Christ is his son. You believe in that Jesus Christ was a real person, but was just a real good philosopher. Any of those things. Is it reasonable to believe in Christianity solely because of the benefits? Or it is the prompt. So let's do that. Put a 1 if you say yes, put a 2 if you say no. 1, it is reasonable to believe in Christianity solely because of the benefits. 2, it is not reasonable to believe in Christianity solely because of the benefits.
Move.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see where they're going. So we got, okay.
I'm-
Okay, so we got the atheist on slightly disagree and the Christian on agree. We got a completely agree from Guamtech. So I guess you're the one person who, were you here when that poll was up? Because there was one I didn't even look at the, I didn't even read out the results. But what did it say? Where the fuck is it? Bum, 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 bum. Come on. Does it disappear? I guess it disappears after a while. Anyway, so Guamtech says 1, Steve says 1, Soil says 2. You gotta believe. You gotta believe. So this means, Soil, that you would prefer that if people don't believe, which again is not something that they can choose, that they are not a part of Christian life, part of Christian values, celebrating Christian holidays, all that kind of stuff. Is that what you want? John's like, it's like an 80-20. No. Again, you have to remember, there are people like me, and there are people who are less moral than I am with my same beliefs. So do you want those people to be able to be pragmatic Christians and behave as if they were Christians, despite what they believe? Or is this your club that you're gatekeeping? Oh, the poll. Good call. Thank you. Yeah, so it's similar to the poll I originally said. I'm saying, but also it wouldn't be all agree from the fundamentalist Christians. I definitely agree with that. But again, that's part of the issue. So we need a new thing that does not conflict with Christianity, that's for America, like an identity, like an American identity. Somebody should start talking about that. So the soul said, I took it you said as not believing and still getting the benefits. So I must have understood until you explained now. Okay. So yeah, right. So, well, either the personal benefits that you feel better praying, even though you don't believe that there's a God there, or cultural, that I want people doing things in the either way. Does that change it for you? So are you a 1 now? Let's see what they got to say.
I'm happy where I am.
Okay, why do you?
Well, because my commitment to truth is that it should be actually true.
Bingo.
That is, reality
Yup.
is that which, when you stop believing in it, doesn't go away. If you stop believing in Christianity, then you're going to abandon the other things that you embraced. So you should embrace those other principles by themselves, regardless of the Christian affiliation. Because,
and I mean, that is nothing new. That is nothing new that you guys haven't heard from me every single time I sit in this chair.
they're true in some objective, measurable way. So it's a step. At least they're moving in the right direction, but we could do better than that.
There's not enough epistemic humility in that, because what we thought was true.
If he's this is going to be a pet peeve. If he's going down the road that you don't have the humility to say that my answer is the right answer. That's what a lot of people say to atheists. that, oh, you must be, that's an arrogant position to think that you could know that God is wrong. And it's like, well, that's not really what's going on here. Context said, I think you can still choose your religion or no religion and still live as though God exists. I think so too.
Throughout human history, as you know, we now view as false. And so you must, not everything.
I think he does, like a good person would.
But we don't know what gravity is. We don't know how it works.
Tells me all I need to know about you. Sorry to interrupt you, Michael, with this baguette.
Throughout human history, as you know, we now view as false. And so you must, not everything, but we don't know what gravity is. We don't know how it works. We don't understand the quantum realm. We don't.
Therefore, God. God of the gaps? Really, bro? God of the gaps? So the soul, well, the ultimate benefit is going to heaven. So I guess it depends. The idea has too many things to make a one or two simply as far as personal. So okay, give me on a like on a scale of 10, 1 to 10. If heaven is the greatest benefit as for in general. Well, again, and we're talking about, we're not talking about, is it easier to say, because I don't like how he used believing. So would it be easier if we said it is reasonable to follow Christianity for the solely for the benefits? It is reasonable, not moral or correct or incorrect. It is reasonable. Let's do that. So I'll put up a poll. If you can't see it, is it reasonable to follow Christianity solely for the benefits? So, is it reasonable to follow the religion of Christianity only for the benefits to your soul on while you're on Earth, to the society, the landscape, and for the ability to get into heaven? Is it reasonable that somebody would do that, even if they don't agree or believe? So as for the general cultural and society benefit rolling over into personal enjoyment, it would be a 1. All right. Shout out to Colette. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. I'd say the greatest benefit would be loving a more just and living a more just and moral life. Heaven would just be a bonus. Nah, bro. There's not. I mean, your best day. If heaven is anything close to what I was taught as a child, then your best day on earth is not anything close to your worst day in heaven. But that sounds ridiculous, right? So if we are believing in heaven, then absolutely, that is the number one benefit. I don't care what happens here. This is just a waiting room. We're just here for what, a few decades, and then you have eternity in bliss. What kind of question is that? Modern Apocrypha said, "Is it reasonable? Probably. Is it wise? No. Why wouldn't it? What's not wise about it? Especially if you are somebody, I agree that it's not wise, but that's because I don't think it's true. If you think it's true, then why do you think it's not wise?
We don't know how it works. We don't understand the quantum realm. We don't really understand the beginning of the universe. We tell a story about it that almost certainly will be a different story in 100 or 200 years. So I think
right. And we're gonna just change that story arbitrarily, or we're going to change the story because we got new evidence
to allow more epistemic humility, again, just in a very basic Humean form of our ability to apprehend reality.
Shout out to Elijah is always lost while you are found. Welcome, Elijah. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Question on the table. Is it reasonable to follow Christianity solely for the benefits, even if you don't believe? Welcome to the party.
The human mind is not a mirror of nature.
Okay. Yes. Epistemic humility, intellectual humility. That's good. That's another core secular humanist principle.
I was gonna say, yeah, but is he gonna bring up the notion that claiming that you have the book, that the book that has all the answers to the universe? I mean, nah, that's just the context. The spoiler is what comes after. This is what came before.
Sufficient to cause you to move to neutral or no?
No, because I think we could do. I mean, for example, we used to believe this, now we don't. Well, how likely is it that slavery will return to nations?
There's the moral arc.
Yeah, there's a moral arc. I mean, are there any countries that are going to repeal the right for women to vote? Not likely. Once you get...
Well, I mean, if Pearl Davis gets her way, yeah, am I right? Hey, sorry.
Get that step, it's not likely to go back. Iran. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's going to be, 2 or 3, but...
What do we say about rules? The exception does not disprove the rule, but proves the rule. Monty Poe said, following Christianity solely for the benefits is Andrew Tate Islam. Good one. Steve said, I mean, if you look at the theory of relativity, it has to keep being modified to work in today's world versus quantum mechanics. Some scholars in quantum theory believe that Einstein set us back. Fair enough. But again, I'm not like, okay, yeah, I don't know what you mean. What you're like, all that is true. Yeah.
Iran, yeah.
In 1919, there was only one country on earth that had allowed women to vote. And then there was this huge burst in the 20s. And now all women can vote in all countries except one, Saudi Arabia, I guess. And yeah, so that's not going to return. There's a reason that happened. It's not random. It's not cultural relativism. Oh, this century we allowed women to vote. And the next century, maybe they won't be allowed to vote.
Right. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because the moral arc is going to move in a certain direction. And so that's the difference between things that you're going to discover from this, going back to the is-ought problem, that, okay, maybe you can't be 100% certain about what ought to be from what is, but you can certainly derive things within a certain context. If that context is the greatest well-being for as many human beings as possible against the greatest suffering for as many human beings as possible, then you got a goal, you've got a task, you've got parameters. It'll all work. It'll all work. If you're a Christian, you believe in it. The definition of not being a Christian is not believing in Jesus Christ. Right. So I am not a Christian. I do not believe in Jesus Christ. That's why I changed the word. That's what he said. He said believe in Christianity. So I changed the word to, is it reasonable to follow Christianity solely for the benefits? So you're not believing in anything. You're just following an ideology, a value system, a ritual system, going to church. I mean, maybe you say so. I tend to agree, but a lot of people here would disagree.
That's not going to happen because it's a
universal truth. Exactly.
People should be treated equally, including men and women.
New claim.
So then how do I have the value? Are you one of these people who thinks that you know my mind better than me and think that I do believe in Jesus Christ, even though I spent 20 years of my life as a Christian and now I don't believe?
Claim. In the United States, the right is a threat to liberal democracy.
Okay, so all right. Soul the Soul says, I think Einstein was on the right track, but there wasn't enough momentum in the research of the electric universe at the time. I think there's too much weight put on gravity, pun intended. Yes, it's like, this is similar to people talking about how Vivek Ramaswamy had a failed drug with his biotech company. It's like, well, yes, but like, he got it all the way to trials. So if I'm going to ask somebody about biotech stuff, I'm going to go to Vivek much faster than I'm going to go to some random person on the street. So, okay, Einstein wasn't perfect, but he was a lot smarter than all of us. And the idea that he could be wrong about stuff, the point of that is that Einstein was not particularly a special person. Like, yes, he was intelligent, but he didn't have any special powers, as you claim Jesus did. He just used this process that is undefeated. The only way you can determine is Einstein right or wrong or this or that is the same process. It is science. So you can't say science proved that wrong, therefore science is bad, because you're using science to use science. Like, that doesn't make sense now, does it? So moving on, the new claim. In the United States, the right, so I guess they mean the politically as opposed to the left. In the United States, the right is a threat to a liberal democracy. 1, if you agree. 2, if you disagree. The claim is in the United States, the right is a threat to liberal democracy. 1, if you agree. 2, if you disagree. Y'all know I am going to, I'm going to say neutral. I'm going to say neutral because it's not the right. It's not the right. It's the uniparty. And so when we talk about left and right, we're now getting away from the politicians and talking more about the voters and the people. I'm going to stick with that. Unwanted Foe said it too. Context said too. So said too.
Depends on which. Are you counting?
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky.
Counting MAGA right or let's say John McCain kind of right, because John McCain kind of right.
See, that's the importance of understanding the question. The right, that's too broad. That's too broad because the right is not just one monolith anymore. Now we have the rhinos and we have conservative America First MAGA type voters. Elijah said, I don't really understand how you could believe in Christianity morals because they are based off of God's word. Without God's word, you have nothing to base it off. Right, but like I understand how pain works, so I don't like pain, and I'm a human being, so I'm gonna and I assume that other human beings operate in the same way. So if I don't like pain, and I don't want other people to inflict pain on me, then I can determine that I probably don't want to inflict the pain on other people because that might, in turn, inflict pain on me. That sounds a lot like the golden fucking rule. No God necessary to not hurt people. What are we talking about? So the current status of the loosely right anyway. Yeah, it's hard to tell. And that's the what exactly, what are we talking about? And so exactly, I'd say one if it was still the Christian nut jobs in the 1990s, but we've come a long way since then. Indeed. Unwanted votes in Colorado and Maine recently proved why it's not true, in my opinion. They're destroying democracy out of fear, without the right even doing anything. Very fair. Very fair. Like I said, without the belief in God, you have no reason to follow his laws. I just gave you a reason. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to hurt people. But that's what I'm saying. You just said you can't have it without God. Yet I just gave you the logic without God. Where was God in the logic that I just gave you? Shout out to Jimmy Long. Said, I must repent. Shame on me. Shame on me. All right, so which Republicans are we or which right are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little bit tricky.
Counting MAGA right or let's say John McCain kind of right, because John McCain kind of right.
All of it.
No, it's good for democracy.
Broadly the right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Makes it tougher.
Threat.
Let's
I'll
see.
go over slightly agree. Depends who it is.
Yeah.
It depends who it is.
You know,
Okay.
it's like this.
I think anywhere from slightly disagree to slightly agree is a reason is definitely a reasonable answer here, because you absolutely, if you think it's one side and not at all the other, you're stupid. So if you're thinking of this the right as opposed to the left, then you would slightly disagree because, well, right, the rhinos are doing their thing. If you're thinking the right, well, they're involved with the uniparty, so slightly agree. I would go with slightly agree.
It could be one of these things where just for this decade or 20 years, there's this little blip, and then we return to the way conservatives used to be. Say 1980s, 1990s conservatives, Bob Dole conservatives.
Right.
Bob Dole.
That's completely different than what we have now. So I can't tell if this is a trend, this is the direction we're going, and this is going to lead to hell, or this is just a little blip in the system and conservatives will regain their rationality.
I'm going to give you last word and I'm going to do a lightning round.
So the soul says, no God necessary for the golden rule, just as the golden ratio. There you go. Tying it all together. Sometimes something is discovered to be true and used over and over again in nearly all languages and dogmas, religion or not. Well said. Well said. No God necessary. That doesn't mean that it's a worse version of the golden rule if you get it from if you attribute it to God. That's not at all what I'm saying. It's just that you don't need to go down that avenue. And if you tell people you need to go down this avenue, especially people who have already been down this avenue, they're going to say, "Oh, okay. Then I disagree with all of everything that you say because I know that very well, and I don't agree with that." So either we can do that and push everybody who slightly disagrees, even though all of you have completely different beliefs anyway. Anybody who disagrees or anybody who uses different language, you shove them outside of the group, or you can create a space for other people to behave how you would want them to behave despite what they believe.
I think it's not clear what we mean by the right.
Yeah. That's fair enough. It was poorly worded. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
How dare you?
There is life in the universe. There's non-terrestrial, non-human life in the universe. Move.
What?
Okay. All right. I thought he was going to reword that one, but all right, we're moving on to there is non-human life in the universe. So this again is a very is going to be very dependent on your religious beliefs because at least certain sects of Christianity say that there's a flat Earth. No, I don't know. I'm just joking about that part, but that the Earth was put here specifically for us, and the whole universe was built around this. And it's the fact of the matter is that if you don't subscribe to those beliefs, it's very obvious that just based on statistics, just based on probability, that there probably is human life in the universe, non-human life in the universe. But dogma can ruin anything.
Very likely. I don't know.
Okay, so the atheist goes to strongly agree, and the Christian on agree. No, we agree on agree.
There is intelligent life in the universe.
Ooh, so does that change it for anybody? Does anybody have a different answer between non-human life and intelligent life? Because I would go if wherever I was. So I would go with agree on the is there non-human life, and I would go slightly agree if there is intelligent life, because I have the same confidence that there is intelligent life. There's got to be life elsewhere. Yeah, exactly. So the math says it. The math definitely is mathin' that there's others out there. Intelligent life. It is theoretically reasonable that in the 14 billion year history of the universe, that we are the very first manifestation of what we call intelligent life, and that it's going to pop up in the universe, throughout the next billions of years or whatever. But it just so happens that Earth was first. Again, how likely is that? Only as likely as we can't really see what's more than a few. I guess. I was going to say a few million miles. I don't really even know but like outside, right outside the solar system, we're definitely not seeing into the next galaxy. Like we don't know. We don't know.
Move. Well, yeah, that I know.
So remember, we went from non-human life to intelligent life. So the Christian stayed on agree the whole time. He's like, I agree that there's non-human life. I agree that there's intelligent life in the universe. Michael Shermer, the atheist, he's like, I don't know about the intelligent life. He's like, I'm like, I don't know if there's intelligent life here on Earth. Sorry,
teeming with life that's bacterial grade or pretty low. The chance of getting all the steps up to us pretty slim.
Like the great filter.
Yeah, the great filter. There's a bunch of filters.
Yeah.
So, but
exactly, Virgil. You'd be easily as dumb as a cat or smart as a chimp.
The numbers are big, so they're probably out there somewhere.
Okay,
Virgil, let me get that react, bro. Come on, man.
Okay, there is spacefaring life in the universe. Move.
Wow.
No.
There is spacefaring life in the universe. Well, strongly agree. We are spacefaring life in the universe. Come on. That's again, just by the wording, you have to strongly agree. But let's take our own and adjust it. Other than humans, there's spacefaring life in the universe. Context of the government told me there is intelligent life. Oh. I didn't hear it. It's not here. Delete the comment. Oh, they're coming. You would agree with the cat. Jared said, I was hoping Zippy would be around. Yeah, where's Zippy? I don't know. I don't know. He's off doing Zippy things. He's in a rabbit hole somewhere. Well, hey, you could definitely tag him in Discord. He'll be there.
I'll just stay where I am.
Okay.
That's also possible, but just narrowing down the numbers.
Okay.
Mhm.
The United.
Yeah. So as we go from non-human life to intelligent life to spacefaring life, that it requires a higher level of intelligence and therefore a lower chance. But even so, it's still very much closer. You'd say it's closer to 1 than 0. That's how probabilities work, right? I think.
United States government, some branch, something in the United States, black ops.
See, I like the notion. I like the way that Peter controls the conversation by holding the mic. But there's too many, especially when you have guests, like, as opposed to just random people doing the street epistemology. You got to mic them up. Like, we've missed so many little quips. And these are personalities, known people. And I think that I get the idea of the game. I get that. But I also think that, if there was a little bit more conversation happening, then they could have gotten into a little bit more where, and again, I know that it's supposed to be just kind of surface level stuff, but just personally, I would love to see with these two, a little bit more of a conversational game.
They're out there on that island.
The United States.
They're right
government
there.
at some faction or branch or black off books or something is in possession of alien technology.
Ooh, a branch of the U.S. government is in possession of alien technology. I would go to agree. Just because. Why strongly? I don't know, but agree. Definitely agree. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I
am actually surprised by that. Because again, he is the founder of Skeptic Magazine. So, aside from the non-religious stuff that he does, everything else is space stuff. So I would have thought that he would definitely, know that there is stuff here. And then again, we see the Christian on neutral. I was expecting the Christian to be like strongly disagree. Of course not. God made humans and the earth and this, that, and the other. Modern Apocrypha says, why would we think that spiritual why would we think that spiritual beings, as characterized in the Bible, don't use technology? Good point. This whole discussion is coming from a perspective that makes it wholly wrong. Well, you gotta let them know. The comment, the link to the video is in the description. Go let him know what the questions he should have used. Steve said, I think the alien headlines were cover stories to get Biden's son out of the news. Probably. So the soul said, I'm almost less inclined to believe the government now that they effed up the disclosure so badly. You're less inclined to believe the government, or to believe that the government has stuff now. I'm not sure how that reads.
I'm actually quite surprised.
Well,
I said shit. Me too.
I'll change.
Given that I've listened to like 4 of your podcasts.
I'm usually over here.
Yeah, I've
Right.
listened to so many
Michael
of your.
says he knows somebody.
I'm pulling him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael says he knows somebody. So, and I trust. Yeah.
But he's
Okay.
neutral.
Yeah.
So you'd be less inclined to believe that the government has stuff now, now that they fucked up the disclosure so badly. Did they, though? Or is just that what they want you to think? Of course, we just messed it up. Oh, leaving Afghanistan, we just oopsie. Virgil said, I love a cat puffy. You didn't, there's no way this, come on, get out of here. You just said that, you used that one the last time, and I'm not pulling up any more of your comments until I get a react. So the souls that I almost never believe the government as a whole, though. That's a good way of going through life. Just skepticism. Hey, believe nothing except that anything is possible.
I guess. All right. Who did
That's an
you
interesting
talk
question,
to?
actually.
And show us, where does he live? Let's go interview him. The guy who saw the.
Thank you, Virgil.
Do you think, as a reporter, do you think I'm going to reveal my sources?
But we're all friends. You trust him. You know he's not bullshitting
Yes,
us.
that's right. Yeah. Well, so my thought is he could be completely telling the truth. The guy that he's talking to thinks he's telling the truth. He saw something he could not identify. It looked off-world to him. That could be all true, and it still just be some Black Ops DARPA project that he didn't know about.
Okay.
Yeah, and at any level, you would have no way of knowing if this is some sort of technology that's making me think a thing, or if this is a thing. We don't have the technology yet to determine. That's like, with let's say you have a grainy tape, an audio tape of Donald Trump, or let's say you have I'm not even gonna, let's play it safe. Let's say you have a grainy audio file of Joe Biden say,
"Come on, man.
Of course we stole the election from Trump. What do you think?" How do you know, without using any technology, how do you know whether that tape is just a recording of what happened? If it's doctored, if it's cut up, if it's completely manipulated, if it's AI, if it's like AI generated, you don't know. But we have technology to detect if it's been messed with, if anything like that. Shout out to whoever is on Instagram. Say hello. And so we'll never get there. Well, until we have the technology to say this is not alien technology, and we can trust that technology exists and operates as we intend it, then we just have no way to know. And when we have no way to know, you stick to skepticism.
Let me ask a question. Michael is not claiming this, but let's say he said this guy took me to the Area 51 or whatever and showed me. It's like, holy shit.
Like Bob Lazar.
If he said that right now, what line would you be on?
Well, so put a 1 in the chat if you know who Bob Lazar, or put a 1 in the chat if you do not know who Bob Lazar is. He was on Rogan a bunch of times, says he worked at Area 51. I definitely, because I want to stick on this. If anybody does not know who Bob Lazar is, I'm pretty sure if I remember they bring him up, but so you do know who Bob Lazar is. Okay. All right.
Well, if it's so, this is kind of subject. If it's Bob Lazar, I'm not moving. But if it's Michael Shellenberger, okay, I'll move 1.
You move because, 1.
Yeah.
Well, I love you too, Michael.
Because.
Excuse me. So this has to do with the personal anecdote and how close to the hey, shout out to Jake the Rip over on Kick. Welcome to the party. Sending me a gift of some booty, some cake. I love it. Welcome. What was I saying? If I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying?
You move 1.
Yeah.
Well,
I love you too, Michael. Because that's not enough to tip over.
Because it could be some high-tech secret stuff that we stole from the Chinese or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised that you're on the neutral, given that you've talked to people. We only have 1 more minute. I'm a little surprised that you're on the neutral, given that you've talked to people who have, and you said this on Michael's podcast.
Yeah.
It's not that you talk to people who know a guy who knows a guy.
Right.
It's like you've talked to people who have seen it and been there.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
the difference.
So again, that we're talking about somebody who has seen something, but that's as far as it goes. Because the science is lacking. And so I'm saying here. That doesn't mean that it can't develop, but right now, ain't happening.
So why would that not move you to the slightly agree or even agree?
Well, not that, but I think that the people I interviewed, I'm 90% confident that they were telling the truth. So I think there's 2.
Oh, my brother popped in and left again. Yay!
2 potential explanations. One is that they are disinformation actors, and that they were themselves fooled and then to fool others. And then the other is folkloric contagion, which is a form of social contagion, which is just telling stories.
I guess it would depend who it is. I mean, I've seen enough interviews with David Grush now.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like an agent of disinformation. He doesn't seem confused. I think
Manchester, England. God damn. I think so. Bob Lazar is awesome. Dr. Stephen Greer is definitely the next step up in crazy UFO and alien conspiracies. I don't know. I mean, everything that he said as well. I don't know, not everything he said. Everything he said on Rogan has been debunked, or at least challenged by many people. And so either there's a conspiracy in the field, or either it's a conspiracy or he's full of shit. So shout out to Jake the Rip. He's asking, what do I do on stream? So just a quick rundown of what we do here with the Indian Jesus. That is me, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense, talking about politics, philosophy, pop culture, anything that matters, and focusing on discussion, conversation. We might all have different beliefs about stuff, but what really matters is the ability to talk to each other, the ability to talk with people you disagree with and figure out what is real, what is true. And when we learn that, then we can discover, okay, now that I know that this is true, then I know what to do from here. Welcome to the party.
He's telling that, yeah, totally. And I'm sure the people he talked to believed what they told him. But again, that's an extraordinary claim. We have been visited. We got to have more than just the word of, no matter how reliable, like you said, my best friend, you know, and
but my buddy said,
I just need to see it.
Yeah. All right. Let me just wrap. We got to go. I just want to say, so I think this is a good example. We touched on some things. We have pretty different beliefs about things, and we're all buddies. Right? I mean, different religious beliefs, maybe metaphysical. So what I see in this time of acrimony, especially for young people, is their beliefs have to comport totally. Oh, if you're a little deviant, I can't be friends with you. Like, why not?
How dare you?
I mean, if anything, that makes the conversations more interesting, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it your book that you quoted Jefferson? Let friends be
that's
wrong.
right. Yeah, that's my favorite line in the book.
Yeah, let friends be wrong. No, of course.
Let friends be wrong. Yeah. And so, I mean, Jack the Rip, you know, I had the man himself up here. He was in the chat before, but it's all about bringing us together. We got to, politics is fucked right now. It's fucked right now. And not, there's not one side that has it right. There's a lot of things wrong on both sides. And we need to be able to be humble enough, to be confident enough, to be humble enough to have these discussions so that we can fix things. We can fix things. So we're coming up near the end of this video, guys, and I gotta be honest with you, I am not feeling very well. So I dropped the link. If you guys have anything that you want to come up and talk about, let's do that. Otherwise, we are just gonna head to the after party, and I'm gonna go the fuck to sleep. So let's see what we got here.
Conversations more interesting, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was it your book? Was it your book that you quoted Jefferson? Let friends be
That's
wrong.
right.
That's
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
My favorite line in the
Yeah,
book.
let friends be wrong. Now, of course, your friends don't think they're wrong.
Yeah, right.
So it has to be reciprocal. They have to
Right.
let you be wrong.
Yeah. Right. Cool.
Has to go both ways.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you.
There we go. Shout out to Michael Shellenberger, Dr. Peter Boghossian. Definitely go check out his channel if you have not. And as I said, I have had him on this channel, so please go check that video out if you've not seen it. A lot of interesting conversations, and the biggest thing that I got from that conversation was something I kind of already knew, but definitely needed to be reminded of, that how important language and precise language is. And so, part of, Jacob, you're still there. Part of, how I do what I do is I focus things on two major factors, and the regulars, you guys know it. Put it in the chat before I could say it. You got dogma, whether you believe something that you will not allow to be questioned. On the right, they have a man in the sky. On the left, they have a man who can transform into a female. And the other one is semantic obfuscation. Taking words and twisting the meanings or twisting the usage of it to obfuscate people's understanding of reality, so that you can take that misunderstanding. There you go. Take that misunderstanding and take the moral high ground. It's like, oh well, you misgendered me. It's like, what? I don't know what that means. Well, that means that I'm a better person than you. Like,
What?
That's never how things worked. You get one coming for this. Shout out to Virgil in Manchester, England. Oh man. So the soul said, totally apt. We need to come together over the morals that have brought us together in the past, and somehow realize that many of them are older than the Christian religion. Separate from that. Exactly. Quit allowing authority to dictate a national narrative for the U.S. and let me do it instead. The American identity. All right, guys. So I guess nobody is going to come up. So we're going to head over to the after party. If you have not already, please join the Discord server. It is free. It is free to join the server. You get the free chat channel where we're 24/7 hanging out, having conversations in there. David, one of our resident liberals, kind of got me up in a corner asking about what I would do about unemployment. And I was like, I don't really know. In that free chat channel. But if you join as a channel member, there should be a join button right around here. If you join as a member, then you get full access to the server. There's about 15 different channels, including our voice chat channel, where we have the exclusive after party only for members, and you're not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. You can come up if you want to, but just like on YouTube, that's a requirement. On Discord, if you want to stay, not cammed up, cammed down, whatever, you can do it. Either way, it is a grand old time. Come and join us. Let's give a big shout out to the comment of the night. Steve said, I would argue there's no real organization behind wokeism. More like that's not the comment. We had I was going to disagree with this one. Who had it? I forgot to start. I apologize. But I think it was Guamtech. Big Dewey, just got to have you cam up and come on. Or actually, here, I'll do this. Hello, Big Dewey. Welcome to the party.
Hey, what's up? How's it going? I just wanted to say hello. I don't know if you remember me. I was from a different shade of purple. You probably don't remember.
A different shade of purple. Yeah. Welcome. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. So you're asking if Christianity even works?
Yeah.
Well, I found out a while back that it does not. And for me, it took me hitting the lowest point that I've ever been. And when you hit that point, I would tell you the truth. That's when you try to go look for them. All my life I've been going to church, and listen. I've been indoctrinated in it, since birth.
Yep.
But I started having different experiences, started talking to different people, went to college and things like that. But again, I don't want to get too far into it. But when I hit that low point, I said, all right, if you're real, you better show up. And I tried to give it as long as I could, and he just did not show up. I didn't hear no voice. I didn't feel anything. And that's when crickets.
Yeah. And I personally was born into the church. So I was a Catholic growing up. I got baptized in the Catholic church. I was confirmed in the Methodist church. It wasn't really until I was in my 20s that I was looking to get closer to God. And I was just kind of a default, the way they have default liberals where you don't really pay attention to politics. So just by default, you hate Trump. Kind of the same thing with religion. I believed, and I didn't have any notion of I didn't know what an atheist was. And so I'm just, going to Sunday school, going to church, learning all this stuff. And then when I'm trying to get closer, I'm actually reading the Bible. Now I'm actually listening to people who are talking about this stuff. And I'm finding that, it's not matching up the way that I thought it was. And it can be very disheartening. And so a lot of people would probably tell you the same thing that they tell me, that just keep waiting, just keep your heart open, and just keep doing this, that, and the other, and one day God will find you. And I honestly do. I keep my heart open because I have a tattoo right here that says, excuse my tiny arms, it says, believe nothing except that anything is possible. So I do 1000% believe that God could find his way into my life. But up until now, he has chosen not to.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
And I'm going to tell you, it's somewhat, in a way, it's disheartening, especially when you come to realize how long you believed. But after you come to the realization, you come from out of all that anger. And let me tell you, it's anger.
Yep. Yeah,
it's also freeing.
Absolutely.
It's freeing. And it's just that I kind of wish that other people who were around me would take on, would kind of realize how much of their life that they're clipping because of I've listened to so many people say, well, I'll just get my reward in heaven. I'm like, dude, this might be your one and only shot.
Right. And so that have you ever heard the phrase "life is not a waiting room"?
Exactly.
It hits. When I first heard that, I was like, God damn, yeah, that's how you guys are treating this, especially in certain other religions, where if you're a hardcore Muslim, then it's even worse. But Christians as well. It's just like you treat this life like, yes, like it's important, but it's just it's kind of whatever.
And I believe that's the reason why so many people are so willing to just let things go and not actually fight for a lot of the things that we actually deserve. I know I'm gonna get into politics and you may kind of hate it, but
I love it, baby. I love it. Bring it on.
But I'm what you may call a true progressive, not a fake progressive. I'm not going to totally get into fake progressivism, but a true progressive. And the reason why I call myself a true progressive is because I actually believe that we actually deserve to be able to not only have better working conditions, but have better pay and not have to pay out the yin yang in order to be able to afford things like groceries. I'm not sitting here saying that we deserve to live in mansions, right? I mean, our economy is basically a service economy. I'm not saying that if you go work at McDonald's, you deserve to have, this huge mansion with this immense garden. But if that's the only thing that you have, you should be able to, at the very least, afford a good apartment, afford your vehicle, be able to afford the things that you eat, and not have to live off government assistance. And if you have to go to government assistance, not have the people in the office try to look down on you because you're applying for the stuff because you can't afford it. And that's the main thing that I'm sitting here looking at. It's not like the average everyday person is lazy. I'm not lazy. I believe that what I'm supposed to do is work. That's the reason why I went to college. That's the reason why I'm going to be joining another boot camp, right? Because I'm coming to the realization that you either pretty much in America, it seems like either you live rich or you die trying and you just don't have crap. It's like that's what it's starting to come to. When you're starting to look at the number of people who are graduating with degrees and they're not even able to get a job in what they have gone into.
So I'm curious because I don't spend too much time in progressive circles. I mean, maybe you'd call them fake progressives, but do you get a lot of pushback from that mentality that you're saying, okay, I realize I have to do this, that, and the other, as opposed to somebody we have some liberal people here, but we tend to lean a little bit more conservative. And I guess the stereotype that we see is that the liberals are all just having their hands out and want everything from the government. So does that kind of mentality where you want to essentially pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Does that seem how is that received by people who have similar?
Here's something I want you to understand. I don't mean to cut you off. Here's something I want you to understand. That whole thing about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps was originally a joke, because there's no way that you literally pick yourself up by your bootstraps.
I guess it doesn't really make sense, do it?
People in other countries, it makes sense to have your tax dollars work for you, especially since that is your money.
Yeah. And I think right there, that is the thing that, among many other things, but one of the biggest things that left, right, liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, as part of the people, there's definitely a class of people who are taking our tax dollars and doing fuck all with it. You might think these people are doing worse than that side, but we can all agree that there's some fuckery afoot, and we all don't want to see it. And so even if, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep cutting you off.
No, you good.
Man.
You good.
I'm going to tell you this. It is literally, and I'm not trying to play, middle of the fence. It is literally both sides. I can sit here and tell you this. And I, again, I'm not trying to get too, but you basically know that black people tend to lean left, when it comes down to politics. Socially, black people are, conservative. But because of what has happened in the past, and we don't have to get into all of that, we're mostly Democrats. There's a lot of black people who are beginning to wake up and realize that these so-called leftists, these so-called liberals, these Democrats are doing nothing but using us.
Exactly.
They're full of it. And that's the reason why, Biden is beginning to realize that his reelection is not a shoo-in.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
It's not a shoo-in. Because the fact of the matter is that he said that he would do some things for the black community, and we're coming to find out that none of these people are going to do anything for the black community. Just like none of these people are really, they're supposed to be the champions for poverty, right? You keep, I forget the name of the congressman, with their whiteboard when she in Congress, talking down to CEOs, talking about, whether a single mother can't survive off of yada, 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 yada. But as much theater, because that's all it is. It's BS theater. That's all it is. None of these people can do anything. And every time it comes time to actually do something, suddenly, the democratic process in some form or fashion gets in the way. In some form or fashion.
Cook, brother.
It all gets in the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And look at how, we're complaining about the government. We're complaining about religion, and we have different opinions on some things, same on the others, but we're able to focus on what we have in common. And if we can do that, then the bullshit of I get a lot of, because I am, in more conservative circles, and I'm not a white person. I hear, what white people talk about black people when black people aren't around. They, for all intent, I'm sure I'm sure it's worse when I'm not there, but for all intents and purposes, they treat me like one of them. And for the most part, the outward racism of people, first of all, I see it a lot more on the left than I do in conservatives, but it's exactly what you're talking about. That it seems like there's of course the black people obviously aren't a monolith, but there's an adherence that black people tend to want to stick, help out the black community, support black business, all that stuff, and that is all to help you guys, for them to help keep you guys as one unit. And it's really great that a lot of people are waking up to see they're not your friends. They were never your friends. And people like me who were telling y'all that they weren't your friends, it's not me cozying up to the white man. It's me cozying up to you, being like, brother, we got to fix this shit. That is
the only problem. The only problem is that I don't mean, thank you, Guamtech, I appreciate it. But, the one thing that I just want to sit here and tell you what keeps me from, and other black people from actually believing, those who call themselves conservatives, is the outward, the attitudes that a lot of those people actually have towards people of color. Do you understand where I'm getting at? And that's what is keeping that from. But if the white tea people, I'm trying to use coded language, I apologize. If white tea people came to learn and understand that some of the policies that they implement in order to disparage people of color will eventually come back around to them. It's just that people of color ends up catching they end up catching the vapors first. But
well, I definitely feel that. But I think
it will come back around to them, because the name of the game is for a certain group of people to have more and for the rest of us to have less.
I completely agree with that. And animal instinct.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, animal instinct. Well, welcome to the party. I'm gonna come back to this real quick, but what Unwanted Vote was saying is that it's definitely true that our representatives don't truly represent the common people anymore. It's a big reason for turbulence, all that stuff. This is why I will always talk about the difference between Republican politicians and Democratic politicians and conservative voters and liberal voters. because those are 4 different groups of people on either side. There's 2 different groups of people, and we have to stop looking at the Democrat politicians and blaming the liberal voters on such a granular level. Yes, liberal voters voted for liberal politicians, but we all are, we're all saying and agreeing that like they're not representing us. They're lying to us when they're running. They get elected and then they don't do the stuff. And so that idea of there's a class of people, yes, but it's not white versus black. It hasn't been that way for so long. And the same thing that you're realizing about the Democratic Party and how they're using black people. I don't even need the quotes there. They're using black people as pawns on a chessboard. They're using all of us, and that's just the way that they can. That's just the way that they've figured out to use black people. They figured out that for white people, it make them feel guilty, and that no matter what, you're instinctively racist, and there's nothing you can do, and you got to kiss the feet of black people and all this. None of that puts more money in our pockets. None of that strengthens our family values. None of that makes our children better off. It's all bullshit, and we need to we need to realize that the they that we're fighting is not a color; it's a class.
It is.
I'll give you the last word on that, Big Dewey J.
If you were to actually do a Google search about the median income, you see that it'd be around $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lie. The reason the median income is what you see is like the median income of everyone in the country. If you were to break it down by, I forget what it's called, by the spread, you're going to begin to realize that a great portion of people make $30,000 and less. Mm-hmm. And then there's this gap, and then there's a smaller group of people making, say middle income, upper middle income, and then there's this small group of people towards the top.
Yeah. And so you're saying that the 50,000 average is technically an average, but it's not average in the like it's a mean, but it's not actually an average thing. So what would you put the number at? What would you say is more average?
For the average everyday person, I would put it, and this may be more generous, between 35 and 40,000.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
35 and 40,000.
Yeah,
it might actually even be less. As a matter of fact, there was one YouTube video who did an analysis and showed that the majority of people was actually making like a little more than $20,000. Like a great large portion of people were just above the poverty line. And I think these numbers are going to have to be adjusted because of inflation, and not even due to any supply chain issues, but simply due to greed. Greed. You have to sit here and realize there's a lot of companies who have whole economies that are larger than some countries on the face of this earth.
Shout out to BlackRock, Vanguard, all of those. So it looks I mean, especially since the pandemic, when all the money, they were so generous giving you free money, but the only place that's open is Walmart and Amazon. But yeah, man. It looks like you still got your channel going. I can drop the link here if you want to tell the people what you're doing.
I don't know what direction I want to put my channel in. I called it Men's Help Space because I wanted more. I wanted to find a way to help men, but I don't know of any resources that I could actually give out. There's hardly any. When I looked up one resource, for like say therapy for people who have been falsely accused, I came to realize that could actually be used against them in court.
Oh, wow.
So what is it that's out there that is actually for men? I don't know. And I don't know what advice I could give these men that would make sense where I wouldn't sound like a fresh and fit.
I hear that. You definitely don't want to be fresh and fit, but if I may say so myself, you definitely sound like somebody who has a good handle on just like what's going on. And we need more people like that, kind of just talking about what's up And so I think you're good at this. You everybody's loving your voice. And I like I said, I dropped the link. Everybody, you go subscribe, and we'll get do Big Dewey J. You're gonna take your time, but I definitely think you have a lot to say, and whenever you get to it, people will appreciate it. So take the time that you need, but you got some stuff to say, man.
All right, thank you very much, man. You have a good one.
You as well. Very much appreciated. Take care. All right. So we got a little treat there. Shout out to Men's Help Space. I dropped the link in the chat. And whenever he is getting up and moving, y'all just got a preview. So welcome to Animal Instinct. Usually get you the shout out right away. Didn't expect a guest. So do you find annoying how so many people cling to onto this narrative that Vivek is an Obama clone and is a plant, even though the evidence supporting it is very small? Yes, I find it annoying, but that's it. I find it annoying. I don't think it's like something that I'm worried about in terms of how he is going to do. I'm not angry about it. I feel like it's something for dumb people to grab onto. Like, yeah, and Guamtech says the plant part is super annoying. I almost talked the Obama stuff as a compliment to him. That's a good point too. How they're trying, like, yeah, a colored person who speaks well, oh, that must be Obama. I think we should all say that from now on, if you say that Obama or that Vivek is like Obama, that's racist. If I can't, I don't even know if I want to say it. I almost said something that I know that I'm not supposed to say, even though it's a stupid thing for me to not to say. But some of you already know what I'm talking about. I'll tell you in the after party. But language, discussion, openness, all of that. I want to vote said it's just another smear tactic, not really worth giving credence to, unless you can come up with actual evidence. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Say what you want about Obama, but at least the man spoke well. But apparently, that's racist. So we love it. We love it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. So if nobody else is coming up, I think we are going to end it here and head over to the after party, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for hanging out. I know I cut this one a little bit short, but I've been foggy all day. I clipped out 20 different clips. Or I mean, I timed out 20 different clips, and I was going to bang them all out today and not have to worry about it for at least another week. And then I just I couldn't get going today. I just couldn't get going. I don't know. And I was like, you know what? Let me save my energy for the show. Make sure I'm good for you guys. So don't worry about I'm still gonna have clips and stuff. That we're talking, into the future. But we are headed over to the after party. Join to become a member, and then hit me up. Send me a DM and get those perms to join the after party. We are headed over there right now. Let's give a big shout out to Dan the Man Jensen, and of course, the sponsor of the stream, John, with a $50 super chat or cash out, not even a super chat. That's 30% more. That's 30% more. And when you drop in $50, 30% is like $6. I can use $6. And YouTube definitely can lose $6 and not worry about it. So very much appreciated. Thank you so much. And I wish I forgot to start it, but Guamtech, you definitely had the comment of the night. It was early on. Let's see if we can. Let me just scroll up. It can't be that far. I'm sure we can find something. Because I mean, you were on fire, brother. You were on fire. Oh, we're getting close. All right, give me a minute. There we go. I think that all the religious nut jobs gave birth to the anti-religious kids. I also believe that most people are religious in some way. So that generation just turned to the state for their religion. Bingo. Shout out to Peter Boghossian, who was here live and accepts me as the one true in Jesus. And of course, again, guys, it means so much to me when you guys yeah, right. He's like, God damn it. All right, let's give him one. Since John was so gracious with the highest super chat ever, we got another one for Morty. Thank you so much, guys. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this one. This has been Morty. I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace. Oops, wrong direction. Let's try it again. I am out of here. Peace.